So, one thing that I've learned that's been so fascinating to me and I wanted to share with you is how your parents raised you and how their parenting styles really affects you in your adult life and your relationships today. The first one would be secure attachment. And this is when your parents responded to you whenever you were crying, whenever you got hurt, whenever you were sad. They were there consistently to help you, to comfort you, and they allowed you to express your emotions freely. And your parents were aligned and in tune with your emotions as a child. As an adult, this allows you to work better with others. You're more interdependent, which means you have a high trust in yourself and a trust in others. You are balanced in who you place the blame and responsibility to when you get into a conflict. So you understand what your role is and what the other person's role is. This means that you are more likely to have meaningful relationships, be more empathetic to other people, and to set the appropriate boundaries. The second one is the avoidant attachments theory. That is when your parents were unavailable when you were hurt or when there was something wrong with you, or they were rejecting you, letting you to deal with it on your own. A prime example is if, as a kid, you were upset, you weren't allowed to show that you were upset, so they would put you in the timeout corner or tell you to go to your room until you were okay again. They weren't there to physically comfort you or to tell you it's okay. Results as an adult is that a high independence. So for you, you like to work alone. You have a higher trust in yourself because at a young age, you were taught that it's up to you to fix your own problems and you shouldn't lean on other people. However, when it comes to any sort of conflict, because of your low trust in other people, you tend to blame other people thinking that they did something wrong to you or the world is against you, and that's how you direct the conflict. As an adult, you tend to avoid closeness with or creating an emotional connection with other people. You tend to be a bit more rigid, perhaps more critical of the other person, and a bit more distant. The third one is called ambivalent attachment style. So that kind of parenting style is when it's inconsistent. Sometimes they're there for you when you're hurt, but then other times they avoid you. So it's almost like you're never sure what you're gonna get. As an adult, you become more anxious and you become more insecure. You want to control the situation because as a child, you never could predict how your parents were going to react because it's very erratic and unpredictable. So relationship strategy for that person is that you become highly dependent on other people. So it's almost like when things happen, you would rather let them take the responsibility and then you kind of let them lead the way and then you adjust accordingly because that's kind of how you were as a child. You never knew what you were going to get, so you let your parents kind of guide you, and if, say, they were comforting, then you're like, okay, I'll let them comfort me. If they avoided you, it's like, okay, I'll deal with it on my own. So that's kind of what the dependent relationship strategy is. It also means that you have a low trust in yourself to make yourself feel better. You put a higher trust in others. Something goes wrong, you tend to blame yourself. You think you did something wrong, and that means that you should take it upon yourself to fix the situation. So as an adult, you tend to be a bit more anxious and insecure when it comes to relationships. It doesn't mean in a love relationship. It could also be in like friendship or a work relationship. You could tend to be a bit more controlling, blaming, erratic, unpredictable when it comes to relationships. The next one is a disorganized attachment style. So that kind of parenting style is when the parents just ignore or they don't see what the child needs. And it can also be that your parents could have been frightening or been traumatic. It could be forms of any sort of abuse, like emotional or physical abuse. So it just becomes untrusting. It's like you become more insensitive as a person, as an adult. Your life is probably more chaotic. You could probably result in being in an abusive relationship yourself. Most likely in your relationships as an adult, you're pretty disconnected, meaning that you're emotionally detached from the situation so that you don't get hurt. afraid to commit to people. So if something goes wrong, it doesn't go your way, you're disconnected, you leave the situation, you leave the relationship without even trying to fix it. You tend to lean more on other people when things go wrong. You blame other people. You think that they need to fix the problem. You put a lot more attention on the other person, and you see what they're going to do first before you try to make and fix the problem yourself. So this could tend to be that your relationship becomes a bit more chaotic. You could be explosive, like 1 second you're fine, the next second you're raging. Just very unpredictable. So I hope you enjoyed this quick little lesson. Please feel free to share it for anyone that you think would like to learn more about this kind of stuff.